In this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can farm the Mitosis testnet. Now, this one is potentially going to be one of the more lucrative testnets to farm because we know for sure 100% that the tokens that you end up holding on the testnet at the end of this campaign are going to convert directly to an airdrop. So as you can see from this little breakdown right here, 70% of the Mito tokens that you hold are going to be converted directly into tokens on mainnet. And then the value of 30% or 30% of the value of the other assets that you hold on the testnet will also be converted. So the more tokens that you can accumulate on the testnet, the better off you'll do when it comes to the actual airdrop. Now, with that said, this testnet is probably one of the more complex ones that I've ever seen. It's really quite involved and not super intuitive. So I'm going to walk you through the basic steps and tell you what you need to do to try to maximize XP. I've been experimenting with it for a few days and I can give you a pretty solid idea of what you need to do to get started. And then one other important thing to note is that this is completely a separate allocation from the points that you farm by making deposits. So if you have been farming Mitosis by making deposits into their expedition dashboard and actually ranking up there, then you'll get a separate allocation for that as well as an allocation for farming this testnet. With that out of the way, what do you need to do to earn points and tokens for this testnet that will convert directly into the airdrop? Well, for starters, you're going to need to, of course, connect a wallet. You're also going to need to connect a Twitter and a Discord account. If you don't have an invite code to this testnet yet, I'll drop mine down below and you can use that if you feel like it. So once you're actually in, the first thing that you're going to want to do is claim your tokens from the faucet. So let's click here. Now I already actually claimed them for the day, but you can come back daily. You can claim the main faucet 10 times until the end of this testnet period. Now this main faucet doesn't give you a lot of tokens, it just gives you enough to actually start processing a couple of transactions and get going. But the bonus faucet is where you can get a variety of other different tokens, and these are what you can really use to start leveraging up or making swaps and trying to get as much as you can out of this testnet. This one you can claim 14 times, and that is over the entire period of the testnet. All of these tokens are free testnet tokens. They have no actual monetary value, but you do want to make sure that you come back every single day between now and the end, which by the way is December 28th. So you still have enough time to actually farm this and rank up and collect all of your faucets. So come back every day, claim the faucets, and that is the first step. Now, the second thing that I'll note is that there are actually a bunch of different testnet networks that this is running on. And to actually complete these transactions, you'll need to have a little bit of testnet ETH on the various different testnets. So we need to actually get some Sepolia ETH and then Sepolia ARB, Op, Base, and Linea ETH as well. And this is part of why this is so complicated in some cases because, yeah, you need to do this on multiple different chains. So there's a bunch of other different faucets that you may need to go to in order to get ETH to make transactions, for example, on Arbitrum or on Optimism. So I'll throw links to the various other faucets down below where you can get a little bit of testnet ETH that will help you get going with this. Now, that you'll only have to do one time. So as long as you collect, let's say, 0.1 ETH on each different network that's enabled in this testnet, then you'll be good for the whole testnet period. And the actual faucet tokens here that you can collect are what you're going to want to use to actually get more Mito tokens and other tokens. Now, one thing that I thought at the beginning that might work is that maybe you could mint a bunch of Sepolia testnet ETH and then bridge it in, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. This ETH that you get from the testnet faucet from Mitosis directly is not commingled and you won't be able to actually bring in outside testnet ETH and rank up that way. So once you've claimed from the various different faucets and you actually have some tokens in your wallet, let's discuss what you can do. So if we visit the My Page section here, this is where you can track your progress for this airdrop. So they have various different tiers. I got bumped down to Emerald 1 recently. Diamond is the best tier, and the better your tier, the more daily rewards you get. So you can see at the top, Diamond 1, you get 55.52 daily Mito rewards for free. And you also get these things called cells, which you can use to gain more experience points. Now, if this seems complicated, just wait, because we're just barely scratching the surface. So the way that this works is there's two things that you're trying to do at the same time. The first thing is that you're trying to collect as many assets as you can. So you want to earn as much Mito as you can, because remember, 70% of that will be directly converted to the airdrop. But then you also want to collect as many of these other tokens as you can, because you can use that to farm, and then 30% of the value of those other tokens at the end will be used to convert directly to the airdrop. So the first thing that you're focusing on is claiming assets from the faucet, swapping assets, trading assets, and trying to earn more to max out your airdrop allocation. The other thing that you're trying to do is earn experience points, because the XP that you earn corresponds to your tier, and the higher your tier, the more daily rewards that you get. And so someone that is in the absolute bottom, bronze 3 tier, is only going to get 1.11 daily Mito versus the 55.52 of diamond 1. So the XP that you earn is very important, and there's a bunch of different ways that you can max out the XP, but we'll get to that in a minute, because I want to actually finish talking about the step-by-step process of how to get these assets and to earn as much as possible. So let's back up a little bit. Every day when you claim your tokens from the faucet, the first thing that you're going to want to do is click on this button up here with the little down arrow. You can also access it by clicking overview and clicking deposit. So these are all of the different assets that you can get from the faucet. And what you're going to want to do for starters is to deposit each and every asset on every chain. And when you make a deposit, basically it's transferring it to the Mitosis network. So as you can see in my wallet here, I have some ETH, Testnet ETH on Ethereum, Arbitrum, Optimism, and Base. But if I deposit each and every single one of these, they'll be converted into Mitosis ETH, or MIETH. And then I will be able to use that to farm on the Mitosis network. This process can take a little while and be a bit glitchy. I think the networks are kind of slow sometimes, and some are better than others. But as long as you go through every day and deposit all of the assets that you manage to claim, then you'll be able to actually move along to the next step. So let me just deposit the rest of this ETH, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I've now deposited all of the assets that I received from the faucet today, including USDE, USDT, etc., etc. So once you've deposited all the assets to the Mitosis testnet, you're going to want to go over here to EOL opt-in. Once you get here, you'll see all of these same assets are listed, and there's deposit cap space on most of them. So you're going to want to select those assets that you've just deposited, go over to the button that says EOL opt-in, and you're going to want to opt in the full balance that you deposited over for all of the different assets that you have. You may not end up getting any of these 3, the staked ETH assets from the testnet faucet. So you may just have the first 2 and the last 2, depending on what your bonuses are. And the reason why we are depositing before opting in is because, let's say that I just opted in directly from the different testnets, then I wouldn't actually have the option to also deposit it to Mitosis. And we want to do both of those things because basically you earn more points for doing so. I know this is really complicated, but there's this little chart here that shows you the different XP multipliers that you can earn for the different types of activities. And as you can see, some of the highest ones that you can get are for opting into the EOL, but also for depositing. So what you want to do is deposit and then opt in so you can get as many XP multipliers or boosts as you possibly can. And I'll leave a link to this down below as well so you can check it out, because there's various different boosts that you can get, including for off-chain stuff like having different roles in their Discord, but also of course for actually doing the different stuff on the testnet. So once you have deposited and then opted in for all of those different assets, you will automatically be earning EOL rewards, and you can actually click this button here that says reward dashboard. And currently I don't have any claimable, but you're going to want to come back daily and claim these rewards and then do the same process and use those assets to get more. So you want to make sure that you keep compounding the rewards and using it to farm more testnet tokens. So don't forget to come back daily, get the faucet, deposit, opt in for the EOL, and then collect your rewards from the previous day. Those are some of the more basic tasks that you can do for the testnet. Those will earn you already a few experience points. And if we go back to the My Page section, You'll be able to see the points that you're earning if you click on this button here, XP and tier, and you'll also start earning, extra Mito and also extra cells. So I suppose this is a point where we can talk about how this whole system works with the cells, because you can get bonuses on your experience points, which help you level up by crafting these different items. Again, super, super complicated, and we're just starting to scratch the surface here. So the way that this works is you earn cells for being in a tier. There's daily cell rewards depending on what tier you're in, but you can also earn cells by doing galaxy quests, and each galaxy quest that you earn or complete for Mitosis will earn you some cells as well. So there will be a link to this page as well in the description down below, and they have these different tasks that you're going to want to go and check and make sure that you complete as many as you can in order to get these oats, and that will give you more cells to craft here. So between the different ways that you can earn cells, then you're gonna want to actually craft things. So you can use 2 cells and combine them to potentially get a cluster. Sometimes it fails. I think it's 70 or 80% success rate, maybe 70. So yeah, you can see I got a cluster there. And then once you get clusters, you can combine 2 of those to get items. And as you can see, I've collected a bunch of different items here. Then when you have an item, you want to equip them. The more items that you equip, the better the XP multiplier that you get. There's 6 different types. I'm still missing this one here, but you'll be able to, for example, click on the one and then select on what you want to equip, and it will show up down here. And then just make sure that you hit apply to actually save it. So you want to collect as many items as you can, and then you want to equip them. You can see that there's XP boosts that end up actually being pretty significant. I'm still waiting on this last one, because if you have a full set, then you get an additional 10%. Now the last part of this crafting system is that you can actually upgrade your items as well, which gives you additional experience points boost. So if you have 3 clusters, you can click on an item. For example, I upgraded these glasses here. You can click upgrade once you have 3 clusters, and you can attempt to actually upgrade that item. There is a success and fill rate for that as well, and I've lost a fair few clusters trying to upgrade some of my items so far. So yeah, in terms of maxing out experience points, you want to try to get a full set. You want to upgrade as much as you possibly can, and that will give you the maximum XP multiplier. Then, of course, you want to check this little chart that they've created and make sure that you're doing all of the high value activities to earn experience points, and that will theoretically help you rank up, stay at a higher rank, and then actually get additional rewards every single day from the different tiers. Now, I'm going to discuss in a minute some of the better on-chain strategies to get additional points, but there's a few more things I want to touch on before we get to that. So if we click here on Overview, you can see there's some other options here, and let's talk about voting now. So the TLDR on voting is that you're going to want to vote for every asset and every chain that's available. It's super annoying and takes a long time. You can see there's tons of different options depending on which asset it is, but basically you're going to want to select an asset and then vote for every chain. You have to put in what percentage you want to vote for each one of these, or you can just put all of it 100% into one single one. Then click on the vote button and confirm that transaction. And you're going to want to do that for each chain and each asset that is available. You get points for voting, a small amount of XP for voting. The voting periods last for about 3 or 4 days each time. And so you should come back periodically and check to make sure that your vote is still applied, and you can change it around if you want to. This part takes a long time, but thankfully this one is not a daily task. Another way that you can earn a small amount of points is by playing this little mini game. So to navigate to it, just click up here at the top left corner where it says Mitosis GM. And then there's this button that says, let's play a mini game. When you click that, it's gonna bring you to this thing where you have to flip over these tiles, and they flip back and forth. But if you and the other people in the game can manage to cover all of them and spell out the word Mito, then you get 5 experience points. So it shows up here in a little pop-up when you actually successfully do it. You can do this up to, I think, 5 or 6 times per day, and you don't actually have to manually do it, like click the buttons. You could actually open it, put it in like a separate tab, but leave it up and open, running in the background, and it should automatically get you the maximum points for this every day. Now, aside from that, the other thing that you really need to focus on are the dApps. So let's open this up here. Right now, there's 5 different dApps on the Mitosis testnet. So let's open the 5 different ones up, and I'll tell you what you can do for each and every single one of these to earn experience points and also to potentially level up the amount of tokens that you have on the testnet. So the first and most basic one that you're probably going to want to use every single day is Chroma Exchange. This is where you can make swaps. So select a token you want to swap from, select the token you want to swap to, and then select the amount. And obviously, the more that you swap, the more experience points that you'll get. If you make tons of really small swaps, you'll get less points. So in theory, you want to try to collect a decent amount of testnet capital, fake money, and then make larger swaps to earn larger experience points. Now, in terms of the strategy and the game theory around this, oh yeah, by the way, a lot of the time the swaps fail, so you have to keep trying, refresh the page, try again. It's super annoying and glitchy because of course it is a testnet. But as I was saying, some of the strategy and the game theory around this is interesting because 70% of the Mito that you end up holding at the end of this is going to convert directly to the airdrop. But also, the amount of tokens that are flooding this ecosystem every single day as a result of the faucet is like millions of dollars worth of testnet tokens. And so in theory, every day from now until the end of this testnet, you're probably going to see the price of the Mito token itself just keep going up and up and up. So I've been trying to accumulate and swap into some every single day. But the other part of it is you don't want to have all your assets in Mito because Mito doesn't earn experience points, and that means that you potentially lose ranks and earn fewer Mito tokens on a daily basis. And then also, since 30% of the value of your other tokens will convert to the airdrop, if everybody is aping into Mito and pushing up the price, it's possible that there's a threshold, or there definitely is at some point, where holding other assets on the testnet will end up actually yielding more. No one really knows exactly what that sort of efficient threshold is going to be yet, so it's just a bunch of experimentation. But definitely make sure that you do some swaps every day if you want to farm this aggressively, and swap between larger pools of capital if you can. You can check which pools have liquidity by clicking Earn and Pools, and you can scroll through and see where there's actually TVL to make swaps. Some pools don't have much liquidity at all. For example, this one only has $134 worth. You can also actually create a position and make LP and earn LP fees from this as well. So this is the basic swaps application, which you're definitely going to want to experiment with. Next up is TILO. This is the money market. This is where you can lend and borrow assets. And if we refer back over here, you can see that borrowing is one of the high XP boost multipliers that you can earn. Also, swapping on Chroma. So these are definitely some things that you're going to want to do as often as possible. There's 2 markets. The main market is for assets that aren't deposited to the Mitosis network, so just basic assets. And then the native market is for all of those assets that have been actually deposited, which was the first step that I showed you. So you can use both of these different markets to supply and borrow different assets. And I've been experimenting with this and doing some supplies and borrows and actually looping a little bit. But I think that from the experimentation that I've done, I've been earning way more points by basic swaps than by actually using the money markets here. Although potentially if you use leverage, you can still earn points from TILO, borrow against the value of the assets that you deposit, and then use that to make swaps. And so therefore earn as many experience points as possible. Also, if you swap into wrapped Mito using the DEX here, you can use TILO to wrap or unwrap the Mito tokens that you have. Just FYI. Okay, next up is Yield Kings. So this is basically an online casino with testnet tokens. I haven't really been using it because I didn't mint the NFT, and in order to actually use the application and play the games, you have to have one of the NFTs. So if you want to experiment with this, first you need to go to Marketplace and buy one of these NFTs, which are currently relatively expensive in testnet token terms. Up to you if you want to do it. But if you do get a testnet NFT, then you're going to want to play the different games. You earn experience points boost, and you can actually earn rewards or jackpots or whatever in the form of additional testnet tokens. Next up is Clover. This is another type of DEX where you can make swaps and you can set limit orders to buy and sell different assets. You have to be careful and make sure that the prices that you're setting, for example, if you want to sell or buy tokens like Mito, are reasonable, because if you make a bad order, someone will snap it up and you'll lose money. I used this a couple of times to play some trades, but I've been using Chromo a lot more often. And then the final app that they have is DVX, which is a perps trading platform. I'm not going to walk through a full tutorial on this, but it's potentially a way that you can actually increase the size of your stack to farm with if you're good at trading. On the other hand, you could lose your testnet tokens. At least you're not losing real money. But placing trades, long or short, on DVX is also a high value activity in terms of earning experience points. So all of these different apps or dApps that you can interact with will earn you additional points, and you should experiment with them as much as you can. I think the best strategy that I've found so far is to make larger swaps using the Chromo DEX. But I am not the absolute best farmer for this. I missed a couple of days because I went traveling, and I just ranked down from Diamond 3 to Emerald 1 today, so I gotta grind and push some more buttons to get back up. And it's definitely a grind to stay in that top 0.5% or top 0.1%, even harder. So this is a very button clicky activity. You need to actually be dedicated to rank up. However, on the other hand, you can directly see your progress towards the airdrop, which is nice because you know exactly how many Mito tokens you're gonna get. 70% of the Mito that you can collect during this testnet will convert. So that is pretty much it for now. There's gonna be a crew system launching eventually where you can join a small team of like 20 people, and then you earn bonuses as you guys all rank up. I might make an update on that. I might not, because the crews are going to be quite small, I think. So you really have to be limited in that. But they haven't even launched yet anyways. So yeah, good luck farming this. Hopefully you found this little guide and walkthrough helpful. And hopefully it helps you get started and earn a solid allocation for this. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.